Hello and welcome to Truth Talk. And we are here. Um, it's 3 more days until Christmas. And I am just so excited. Not necessarily for the hustle and bustle, but just because it's finally here. So today we have no real news. We're not going to focus on the chaos of the news, the media, the politics, or the COVID. We are here today to give holiday cheer, to give some last minute gift ideas, to talk about those Christmas lights. Are they around you or not? And then what's the importance? How do we spend time with our family and remembering those who seem strong at this time of the year? That, even strong people fall down when the door gets closed. So, without ado, it wouldn't be your daily dose of truth to hear without Brandy and Bill Kaufman here on Truth Talk. Hi, you guys. How are you?
Hello.
So, Brandy, I'll say hi to you first. And don't forget, you can follow Brandy on the right track on her Facebook / on the right track with Brandy Hunt. So, Brandy, Merry Christmas week.
Merry Christmas week to you too. Thank you for having me as always.
Love you. And Bill is driving with his lovely bride, Barbara. They pulled over on the side of the road.
We're trying to make sure Barbara.
Everybody knows you're pulled over on the side of the road, even though they see cars passing you. They are not driving. Safety at all cost. All right. So welcome, Bill and Barbara.
Caution is my middle name.
I don't know that Barbara would agree to that, but okay.
Pretty sure no one would agree to that.
And I tried to keep them not so crazy when we first got married. I just kept giving up, and I just learned to embrace it. Jesus.
Oh my goodness. Oh, you're in trouble, Bill. You're in trouble. And of course, it would not be Truth Talk without you, the viewers, and those who want to chat. So don't forget, as we're talking, share your favorite Christmas memory. Give us some ideas about Christmas and how your life is being changed this year for Christmas. And if you chat with us, if you conversate with us, then you can get free Truth to Hear merchandise like this. I Love Truth Talk t-shirt, a mug, a canvas bag. It's a really nice heavy duty bag, or a great hat to have. So those who chat with us, you may get a free merchandise for doing that, for participating, just to say thank you for inviting us into your day. And so holiday cheer. It's been a rough year, and I think we need some holiday cheer. I don't know about you guys, but just having the hustle and bustle, having decorations out, seeing lights out at houses and blow up things of animation just makes things a little easier. What about you guys?
Yeah, I agree. And I'm glad some people still, we don't know what's going on inside of their house. Is the first, though they could have lost their job and all of that. And I'm glad that people push past the hurt, push past the pain, push past the disappointment. Because while I don't know what may have directly happened in their home, I know they were affected by COVID some kind of way, because we all were. There was not one person in this world that was not affected. So I'm so grateful to see that people still honor, the Christmas holiday. They still honor, the gift giving, and, they didn't give up. And we say, you know what, well, we didn't get to celebrate any other holiday, or we can't see our family, so we're just not going to do anything. So I'm grateful that there are still people who say, you know what, we're going to end this year with a bang.
That's right. That's a great comment.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I think everything I see everywhere, I don't care if it's on, I like sports a lot. I don't care if it's on sports or what. I got all these apparently candy canes on my face here.
Yes, I took them off.
Yeah, I like them. But the everybody's like looking forward to 2021. I don't know if anything different's going to happen in 2021, really, but I sure hope so, and I think we're all hoping so. I don't think anyone's looked forward to a year as much as this year, Because in 2000, you think we look forward to 2000, but everybody was all worried about Y2K and the computers dying and everything, and going back to the Stone Ages, which didn't happen at all. But I mean, I don't remember it being like, I was kind of excited about it, and I think other people were, but there was a fear too with that Y2K thing. And now it's like, look, I don't even care. 2021 can't be as bad as 2020, and I want it to happen, and I want it to happen now.
But isn't it something how we actually think that just one day, turning the clock one day, is going to change things? It's
and I don't really think it will, Melanie, but at the same time, I feel it will. See, it's a feeling. It's not a. I like intellectual things, not emotional things. I try and reject emotional and hold on to the Vulcan in me and say, don't just use logic and reason. But the fact of the matter is we don't only deal in that. And so the part of me that doesn't deal in logic and reason, that side of the brain's going, look, this really sucked, and this has got to be better coming in the future. There's no intellectual reason to think that, but I still feel it.
Hey, it's the end of the year. It's got to be the end of something. Right. So it might as well be the negatives. I think that's a great way to start the year, to start ending this year. Is that next year's just got to be better than this. So let me ask you this. Do you have a favorite Christmas experience that you want to share? Anything over your whole entire lifetime?
I'll mine. Well, my daughter, she's 20 now. And so ever since she was a baby, we've always dressed alike. I always wanted a twin, but since I didn't have a twin, so when I had my baby, I said, well, I'm just going to dress like my baby. And, it was cutesy and fun when she was like, 6, 7. And I thought she would just be like, no, I don't want to do it anymore. And then, she's older and she still said, what are we wearing on Christmas? And I was, I'm going to the store, because as they get older, they become their own person. And like, nobody wants to dress like their mother, but over the time, we always dressed alike for Mother's Day, and we always dressed alike for Christmas. And so I could go back to the pictures and, just see the evolution of, I'm not getting older, but, as she gets older.
I would love to have had a picture of that, Brandy. I would have loved to show everybody a picture of you and your daughter dressed alike, because it is adorable. I've seen pictures, and it's just actually they look like twins now. I don't know, Bill, if you have seen her daughter and her on her social media, but they look like twins now that she's a grown up, and it's kind of scary, actually.
It really is.
Well, that's sweet. Bill, what about you?
Nice. Well, a couple of my own childhood, and I know this, I think I told this last week, but maybe I didn't, but I think I did. Maybe I told it on the radio show. I was a little kid, first grade, second grade, and I grew up on a farm, ranches, trees around us, orange trees across the highway. So I got on my bed and used to watch the trucks go by, big trucks when I was a little kid. I just thought those lights were really cool when they went by at night. And I got up in this, undoubtedly a dream, but it was so real. I could not shake it. I got up and I saw Santa Claus flying away from my house, and I saw him fly over the orange trees across the way, turn around and take off. And I was like, I remember it like it was yesterday.
Oh,
it's
wow.
such a strong memory. I mean, obviously a dream, but I saw it and I was like a little kid, but I woke up going, you cannot believe what I saw. But I really did see it in my mind, And then, but you talk about your daughter. I have a few of those things. And I remember so well buying Santa Claus bringing my 7-year-old daughter a little quad runner, the plastic ones, from Walmart type stuff, And I took her out the front yard, and I still remember her sitting on the thing and going, and I was barefooted. It was cold outside. That hurt so bad as she rolled over my feet. I know it sounds like a silly memory, but it's a real genuine memory of like, oh, this is a great gift, but boy, did that hurt.
Bill, you're getting laughter from Sharika Massey. She is laughing with you about your stories. And I want to share this one. Now I'm going to have to read it. I don't think we can get all of it, but Eileen Task rejoins us, and she says, my favorite memories were my dad and grandmother playing music, and my family singing Christmas songs together. A memory that stands out is when I was a young child, my dad came home with a car full of wrapped gifts. We knew Santa wasn't real and that our family couldn't afford any of that. The givers didn't want him to say who they were, but even though I was only maybe 8 years old, my heart was filled with gratitude that someone knew who we are and cared that much. All the gifts were so thoughtful and personal. That one act has inspired extravagant generosity throughout my life.
Yep.
Wow, that's beautiful. And that's I love the picture of everybody singing and sitting around and enjoying music, but then how someone who sowed that seed into her made a lifetime change in her life. Thank you for sharing that, Eileen. And she also said, very funny, Bill.
Well, what's funny is you say, okay, Santa Claus, not real, whatever. The reality is whoever that was in the spirit of St. Nicholas, because St. Nicholas was a real guy.
Yes,
he lived in the 200s and the 300s, and he was a bishop of the churches in Turkey. He got imprisoned for 14 years for his faith. When he died, all kind of people came forward and said, oh my gosh, he gave me stuff too. And the famous story is him giving the dowry money for one of his parishioners' daughters to get married. And when the next one showed up old enough, he threw the money in. It was in the stocking. That's the reason for the stocking is he threw a bag of gold in the stocking that was just, it wasn't like for Christmas gifts. They hung up their stockings so they would dry, and he did it at Christmas. And then a few years later, when his next daughter got old enough, he did it again. And then whenever the third daughter got old enough and he did it, the father chased him down and figured out who was doing it. It turned out it was his pastor, because that's what he was. He was pastor. And after he said, okay, promise me you won't tell anybody I do these things. And he kept his promise. But after St. Nicholas died, he told, and all kinds of people came forward and said, oh yeah, he gave me money when I needed it too. Or not necessarily I knew it was him, but money showed up in my household when I needed it too. And it was St. Nicholas. And so, I mean, whoever gave that girl as an 8-year-old all those gifts that were personal, it's the same thing. It's still St. Nicholas. It's still somebody in the name of God, in the name of Christ, because that's why you do things for love. And so I like Miracle on 34th Street to this day. I love that movie.
It is one of the classics. It really is. Well, one of my favorite Christmases, I'm kind of old. I've had a lot of Christmases, but one of my favorites is one Christmas. The kids were, they were in kindergarten, first and second grade, or maybe first, second, and third grade. No, kindergarten, first, and second grade. And we made Christmas cookies and put out milk and stuff for Santa. And then that Christmas, they had made some kind of deer chow. You guys remember that? They would come home from school with a bag of deer chow. Well, we actually went out we had a backyard, and we actually went out into the backyard, and behind our house, there was nothing but woods. And so we went in the backyard. It was like 11 o'clock, and we're like, we got to hurry up because, Santa's reindeer's coming. And so we threw out the deer chow, and they were yelling, come on, reindeer. And they were calling out the reindeer names and thinking, oh, Santa Claus coming, going to see reindeer. And we're heading into the house. And I think it was my son said, look, there's a reindeer. And lo and behold, the deer came out of the woods and started eating the deer chow. And I'll never forget that. It was so precious because it wasn't they weren't attached to a Santa sleigh, but deer actually came and met my kids on Christmas Eve when they threw out deer chow. And I just think that's one of the most special things that could have happened to a child, because it showed you can believe in things, and it might not turn out the way you want, but miracles happen. Things can just surprise you sometimes when you have faith enough to throw out deer chow and believe deer is coming. And the deer actually came. And I just thought that was weird. But it's one of the best memories. Just to see the kids' faces light up like that was just amazing.
I bet.
And in the spirit of Eileen, I want to talk about some, like we said, it is difficult for a lot of people financially.
Oh,
And I was looking to see like what kind of things can people do. One, there's nothing out there open. So if you went roller skating or you went to the movies or something like that for Christmas, it's not happening this year. So
right.
everybody's going to be locked up in their house. So I love this. It's Amazon, but I love this. And bear with me. I'm going to show this. It is Amazon. It's only $3. You just can print it out. You download it from your computer. So it's an immediate thing you can do with your family. And it's called Roll a Snowman. So you get all these bits and pieces of snowman and you cut them apart. And then I don't know how you roll the dice, but maybe you could use a real dice that you might have in your house. And if you roll a 1, you put the eyes on something. And so you make a snowman. Now, this seems like it's like young for little kids. But guys, we can adult up anything. This could be a really fun game. So I like that. And then they have also Christmas bingo. You can do the same thing. $3, download it. If everybody is on Zoom, everybody can download it in their own home and play together on Zoom. And so it's a good way, inexpensive, to bring Christmas into your boringness. If you celebrate Hanukkah, guess what? There's a Hanukkah kit. There's a whole Hanukkah activities and craft kit. Now, this is really geared towards the younger ones, but it's still something we can do at home. And I think doing stuff like that is going to make this Christmas special, to not just sit around and say we're bored, we can't go out, but like Brandy said, making it the best that it can be and deciding we're going to have a good special Christmas. It's going to be more meaningful because we're together, or we are on Zoom with people that, listen, for my family, I have them all over the place. I don't see them every Christmas. I see my immediate family here in California. But because of Zoom, we can actually, we've learned to reach out past our local, and involve friends and families across the states. And so I think it could be even a more impressionable Christmas than before. What do you guys think?
I agree. I think sometimes we just have to dig deep into ourselves and be creative. I got to meet some really fun people when I was up I believe it was in Pennsylvania, and they don't have electricity. They're not modernized, but they talked about how they just, really, what is their name? I know y'all know who I'm talking about.
Yes.
The Amish.
Yes, the Amish. I was riding down the road in the snow, and there was a man on a horse. I was so confused. I was like, "Why is? Can somebody tell me why this man is on a horse? Because it's snowing. Like, do you know it's snowing?" And they say, they're not modern and they're not traditional. They don't use electricity. They make their own food. So I think to some degree we have to just unmodernize ourselves and get back to the basics. I know that it's fun to do all the movies and all of that, but if that's dangerous right now, if that's poison to us, we have to kind of dig deep and find out, okay, maybe it's something you don't know about your family. You might just need to sit down and talk to your family instead of using all the fluff of the world, the shopping and the TV and the movies. Sit down and find out what's your child's favorite color. What's your husband's favorite movie? What's your wife's favorite whatever? There's people who got to know the people that they live with this year because they didn't do anything. That could have been a good or bad. Might not have came out to everybody's favorite. But just sit down and even now I know y'all still going to Walmart. So, go to Walmart, get a Scrabble. I'm an author, so that's the first game I'm gonna say. Followed up by Monopoly. Go back to the basics when we didn't have all of these 1,200 cable channels. After we opened gifts, we went down and sat down somewhere till it was time to eat. After we ate, we went and played some kind of board game. What's the gingerbread houses? That material is really cheap. Graham crackers, marshmallows, find some candy. Dollar Tree. Do y'all have Dollar Tree in California? Or some dollar?
Yeah.
Okay. They didn't pay me for any of this advertising, but Walmart, holler at me if you want to pay me. But Dollar Tree You can get a lot of stuff there, especially like for the gingerbread house, and just do something, creative and fun, because it's about the people across from the table. It's not
Right.
about the thing in between us.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Like, I think that you were joking about Walmart paying you, but through a very bad time during the Depression, a man lost his job, didn't have anything, had a family, and he invented a little board game that he did with his family. Parker Brothers started buying it up, and we play it to this day, called Monopoly. And
Wow.
it was during the Great Depression. Guy had no money, lost everything, and he came with that little game. And
Wow.
I come up with a game in 2020 Christmas that's going to sell for 100 years. But you know what? You might.
You
I'll
might.
tell you what. The man had nothing going for him. Nothing. And he's like, he was despondent. The story is he was despondent. He had a family to feed. Got fired from his job. Not his fault, but the Great Depression got a lot of people fired. And it's just the way it was, but that's where that came from. If it wouldn't have been for that, we wouldn't have the game Monopoly. And Monopoly actually inspired so many other board games that came after it, that became family-oriented board games. And that all came from a very rough time called the Great Depression, this is the worst time in anybody our age. And Brandy, I know you're much younger, and Melanie, you're much younger, but I mean by our age, I mean if you're under 100 years old, then probably experienced the Great Depression when you were a little kid. But that, even if you were born in 1920, you were a little kid during the Great Depression. Okay. Even those people that are 100 years old were little kids during the Depression. They weren't adults going through it, because my parents were born in the 20s and they lived through it, but they didn't remember it. They even told me when they were growing up, they go, look, nobody had anything. We didn't care. We had the same thing everybody else had, nothing. And it didn't bother us. The adults, it bothered them. They couldn't hardly feed their families and that kind of stuff, but they're all gone. So there's nobody alive that's experienced that. So this is the worst we've experienced, but it wasn't as bad as that. And
But
put it in perspective.
Just
putting it in
perspective. I love how you bring history into everything, because it just teaches and wakens us up. But I think there is something similar, because look at what's already happened since all the jobs were closed down, everything was closed down. We have learned how to do things that we've never thought. The streaming, the internet, the shows. People are getting income off of doing something that's inside of them instead of doing something outside of them. And I think, if families, people, creative people come together and instead of just being bored and angry, start saying, what's inside of me? What can I do? And be creative. I think that would be a great thing to see what comes out of this whole season of isolation and isolation. Because
I
think
can't see it while it's going on.
No,
you don't see it while it's happening. So someday in 2050, people will look back and say, well, that the thing we've been doing for the last 30 years, that started in 2020.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. No, we don't see it yet. It's not here yet. Or even if it is here, we don't recognize it as a trend because it's not a trend yet. But, I think there will be something like that, like Monopoly.
Too. And for those that, need a last minute gift, just want a last minute gift. And I'm not being sponsored by Amazon. Wish they would. If they hear this, they can sponsor me. That'd be wonderful. But I love Amazon. They actually have, if you don't know, if you go on Amazon, let me pull up a picture of Amazon. It will actually say, if you click on the item, arrives before Christmas. So you will know if it's going to get to you before Christmas or not. It won't be like guess and wait and see. Right now it's dwindling down, but the items I want to show you, they're good items, inexpensive, but can bring a lot of long lasting joy to somebody. So this is a car charger. What do you call it? It's right there. It says a jump starter. There you go. And I love this. I bought one for my daughter, not for Christmas, but about a year ago. And it's it charges, and then you just keep it in the car. If the car doesn't start or whatever, especially East Coast, I used to live on the East Coast, and in this weather, you jump started your car. And this is a great gift. If you do as of right now, it's still available for delivery before Christmas. So check out Amazon and see what is available for kids, last minute gifts. If you all of a sudden decide to go see your grandkids, take some slime, send some slime to your grandkids across the country or to your nieces and nephew. Of course, their parents might not like you, but it's a good gift to be delivered to their
Who
home.
doesn't love slime? And then I thought, moms.
Mom and dad like slime. So
But every
send it
kid
to
loves
your
slime.
nieces and nephews and your grandkids and all the other households. But it's great. It will arrive before Christmas as well. Another thing is a hammock. I have one of these outside, and I love an outdoor hammock. It's so quick. You don't have to. You just need 2 trees, and it self wraps around the trees. It's just easy to put up. It's only $23. It will arrive before Christmas. Great way. Everybody's quarantined. If you got 2 trees or 2 poles, go outside and take a snooze. Get away from the family. Get away from everybody. Get a place of isolation if you can. And then this is simple. It's $14. Still arrives before Christmas. It's a drawer organizer. I have one. I love it. I absolutely love it. So moms will appreciate this. Anyone who runs the kitchen will appreciate having a drawer organizer, or even for your beauty supplies in your bathroom. It's a great. And stocking stuffers. Here's my last one. This is my last pipe. Also, Amazon will arrive before Christmas, but especially for kids. There's a lot of kids and families getting in trouble because kids can't breathe with a mask. So why not get these, put some in your stocking stuffer. It's a clear face shield for your child. And you can do little painting, like face paints on them and make them decorative. And that way the kid can breathe and you won't get in trouble. So I just think that those are some great gift ideas for last minute gifts. But go on Amazon or Walmart. Walmart doesn't necessarily tell you if it's guaranteed to be there before Christmas, but Amazon will tell you it's guaranteed to be there before Christmas. And so that's a really good thing to do. But remember, like we said, it's time. You know, what if you have no money? Write a letter. Write a letter. Start a journal. I keep journals for my family members. So when something happens, good or bad or exciting, or I have a thought at 2 a.m, I write it in the journal for them. And what happens is if they leave or I go out of town or they go out of town, I pack the journal in their bag. And then while they're gone, they get to catch up on like maybe a month or 2 months worth of thoughts and encouragement or whatever. And then they write back something while they're gone to me. And then they give it back to me when they come home. And we've been doing this for a while. And it's just a beautiful way to say the things that never get said. So start a journal and offer that as a Christmas present. And if they don't want to write back, just keep the journal and they'll get it when you die. You know, it's a good thing. I love the journals. So we're going to
say how old they are. You know, I like your idea of the letter because when I was a kid, when I was a young man in the Army, I get letters sometimes from people back home. I just loved them. Now, I haven't thought of letters, so we don't write letters back and forth too much anymore. And everything's emails, quick, you know, call, text, whatever. And that's fine. I mean, that's how we communicate. And I don't know the answer, but I wonder how much somebody would love that you can read over and over again, the paper in your hand, like when I was young. Because when I was in the Army, if you give me a letter, I read it 5 times. Not for anything it said, just it meant so much to me that somebody mailed me. Well, actually, I remember being in 8th grade, and my 8th grade girlfriend moved away. She wrote me a letter that summer, and she mailed me a little 45 album or record. And I don't even know how many times I read the thing. I don't know, because it was that many. Listen to that record till the grooves came apart, you know. It was signed, sealed, delivered, I'm yours, even though we were only 14 years old. I don't know. It was really great, and I loved every second of it. And I remember it to this day. So I wonder I didn't think what you said before, but maybe it would have that impact if you wrote somebody a letter today.
I think it would.
I don't know.
Especially if they're going through a hard time. Writing a letter that tells, how they have lived in front of you up until this point, encouraging them that they can get
Yeah.
past this because of how you saw them get past other things. And like you said, they can keep it and tuck it away in a special book, put it up. I have letters that were written to me recently, and I put them up in my room on a cabinet, and so I can read them and I can see them. And I think it's, people say, well, just email it, but it's not the same. It is not the same as a handwritten letter. So that's
Right.
something that everybody can do. Hopefully everybody can do. Sharika Massey is still on with us, and she said that's absolutely true. I'm not quite sure what she's saying is true, but everything we've said was true, right? Thank you, Sharika. And so I flipped away from the comments for a minute, and so I didn't catch it when it first came in. But thank you, Sharika. So Christmas lights. What's going on with Christmas lights? There is a place here in Los Angeles that in the Valley that we used to go to every year. And I got a call from my friend because she was going Friday. We were going to go Saturday. And she said, you can't go. It's like a whole block, 2-3 blocks of houses. And they had the most amazing lights. And they're gone. Houses are foreclosed. There's for sale signs. And then there's a sign saying, due to not being able to pay the electric bill due to COVID loss, we can't run the Christmas lights. So she said there's like 2 houses out of like 4 blocks worth of houses. They're just not able to do, and it's not even about the lights. It's like those families have been doing it for like years and years and years and years and years. Like, how devastated are those families? All those families that they either don't have their home anymore or they can't afford the lights. And so it put a new picture up to me of the devastation, because I don't know, do you guys see Christmas lights where you guys are, or has COVID impacted your Christmas lights?
I don't drive at night most of the time. So, but just from what I've heard, a lot of the bigger facilities as well, Roper Mountain shut down. I don't know if you know that.
No.
Yeah. So that was really the only light place we had that was other than people's homes. But I'll have to, when I go out this weekend, I'll see if people still had their lights up. But from what I've heard, the same, with the COVID hitting and people's finances are impacted, and I can't run the lights, all the time or all day. So yeah, and it's little stuff like that you never really realized that was going to be impacted. Christmas lights,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's down to the very smallest detail that this thing has really swept in and just reconfigured the way we see the world.
And it seems like it's insignificant, but it's part of the fabric of society, is going and seeing Christmas. It's part of that holiday cheer, and the impact when it hit us that, whoa, wait a minute. It's just, Eileen said, I've seen fewer Christmas lights this year too, and was wondering why. And that's absolutely crushing to hear about your favorite spot, Melanie. Thank you, Eileen. It's something that we were looking forward to, because life is hard here at the Keenan house for many reasons. And it was just like an escape, and that escape was gone, but it wasn't. It's more horrifying for all those homeowners and families that lost so much, because it's not an escape for them. It's a disaster. It's devastation for them. And so, we do lift up and pray for those people, that community, and anybody else who's been devastated on a daily basis. But for everyone, from truth to here, here's a Christmas lights, just so you can say you saw it. There's some Christmas, and this just brings back memories. Hopefully when you see these lights, you could just think about when your kids were young, or when you were young, or even last year that you were able to travel and see the holly jollies and the snowmans and the arboretum of lights. I have a memory last year, up at the church in Arroyo Grande, Pismo Beach, at New Life Church. They had this arboretum or walkway of lights just like this, and me and my best person and AG and my daughter, we were able to go under there and take a picture. And that's one of the most special pictures. We haven't been able to see her in a year. And so it's been wonderful to see that. It just brought back those memories. So Merry Christmas to everybody out there. And there's some lights. I just thought I'd do that and share that with you guys. I think it's sad though, the places that do have lights, they're charging $70 a car to drive through and see lights. I just think that's a sad.
$70?
$70 per car to drive through and see lights. I don't know. I don't know the justification. I don't know if that's outrageous or not.
They wouldn't get it in my household only because we don't have the money.
Right. Like no one has money, but then
they wouldn't give me money for me, not because I'm a Scrooge, but because yeah. I'm more like,
who has $70?
I don't got enough money.
And that just, for me, my first response was, well, that's only for the wealthy. So what about everybody else in America or in LA? Because average people can't do $70 per car. They just can't. So remember this year.
Not me.
No. So remember this Christmas, simple things need to make Christmas special.
Mm-hmm.
The simple things, the spending time, the sitting down, chatting, talking with each other. If you have a fireplace, put a fire in the fireplace.
You know what I wanted to say real quick, Melanie?
Yes, go ahead, say it.
The church that you went to last year?
Yes.
Oh, maybe. I might not be on.
Are you not on?
You're on. We can hear you.
Did you lose?
I'm not sure.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, Melanie, last year you said you were at New Life. And you were at New Life last year. We were there in 1988. That's where Barbara and I got married, at New Life Church in Arroyo Grande in 1988.
Oh, that's beautiful. It's a great church. If you guys are anybody in the Pismo Beach area or online, New Life Pismo Beach is a great set of people, a great unapologetic word teaching, loving ministry that I would have anyone go to. So baking cookies, coloring pages, reading to the younger kids. One other Christmas I love is we would have a fireplace, because I was in New York, it was always snowing, and we would turn all the lights really dim, and an adult, whether it's my mother or an uncle or somebody, would read stories to us. And we would just lay there on the floor with pillows and blankets and a fire and just have someone read to us. And as a child, we don't think that's important as adults, especially now. Kids are independent, doing computers at 3. But take them back, like take it back and see if they don't respond to that. They might not at first. They might be like, ew. But once you get the setting right, the fire, the lights, the blankets, the pillow, hot cocoa with marshmallows, you got them. Any kid, no one can say that.
Another fun game is Pictionary.
I hate Pictionary.
And what's the game? Well, basically you put movies and television shows and music in a hat and you pull it out and then you reenact the movie. Or
oh yeah,
charades.
Yeah.
Charades. Make it like Christmas charades. So it's like movies like Elf or It's a Wonderful Life or stuff like that. So do charades and so there's so many. Just if we unmodernize real quick, and if you can't figure nothing out, go to Google because there's all the answers for you. Google has everything.
That's a good point. That's a very good point.
You know, a good movie that I think everybody should watch. It was made in, I think, 2008, but it was the Nativity Story. It's the most accurate story of Joseph and Mary going from Nazareth to Bethlehem that I've ever seen in a movie. I mean, it's like the way it looked seems like the way the first century looked. The way people behaved seemed very similar to the first century. Most of the time, you make a movie about something in the past, you make it like us, how we would do it today. That movie seemed to take the historical of that time century, and it's Joseph and Mary going from Nazareth to Bethlehem, difficulties that they faced throughout their life. It was called the Nativity Story, a movie. I just thought it was fabulous, and we've watched it before, but maybe we'll watch it on New Year's Eve or something again. Every family should do.
Yeah, that's a good thing. I appreciate that because I haven't seen that movie. So that's a good thing for us to do. And you know, if you're used to going to the movies, well,
and
now you have
it's called the Nativity Story.
Yes, the Nativity Story. It's up on the screen. The Nativity Story. I don't know that I spelled nativity right, but you get the gist of it. Brandy, did I spell it right? All right, thank you.
Did.
Can always count on Brandy to tell me if I did it right or not.
Brandy for the editor here.
Yes.
You're the historian, Bill. Brandy's the editor. I don't know what I am. I'm just
You're the theologian. You're the theologian.
Oh, is that it? All right.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think, what else do you want to talk about? We're going to next week. I know that I think it's important to mention lightly that there is a COVID relief bill that got passed today.
I wanted to finish my little one thing, and that is,
go ahead.
The
you got the floor.
Stories that you talked about are important. Oh, okay.
Yes, we hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I know we're a little bit, it's probably where I'm parked. We got some timing problems here. You know, you talked about the stories, and I think stories are really important because when you tell a story, people remember it. And that's important. Mm-hmm. Movies are just stories. That's all they are. It's just you tell one to your children, they're going to remember that. And that's really good and really important. Everything was the night before Christmas to story of Ebenezer Scrooge. They're all just stories. And then you finish it off with the real Joseph and Mary, went to Bethlehem and why this was born, and when the angels showed up and all that stuff. Those are stories, but people will remember them when you tell them. Children will remember them when you tell them. So there's a old song that's Christmas time, and it says, "Tales of the stories and the ghost stories, Christmases long, long ago." Well, I'm pretty old now. I got a lot of Christmases long, long ago, but they've been a lot longer than I've been around. So tell those stories, and I think you'll have a good impact on your kids and grands.
I like that.
And I'll finish my port that because that's just my 2 cents worth.
All right. I know you got to get back on the road. So, but we thank you for stopping along the road and safe travel coming back home. I'm glad that you got back safe. Hopefully you get back safe. I trust that you will. And Barbara, we love having you around in the background. Barbara has a lot to say too. I'm going to tell you, Bill and Barbara, they're a team. So I wanted to say, hi there, Barbara. One more time, I want to put your stuff up because, check out Bill and Barbara on Facebook. They have a lot to say. The classes that Bill teaches is amazing. They're Wednesday nights. So go there. He's live on Facebook. I think you just like him, and then you'll get the notifications when they're on live. And I'm telling you, it's worth your time. It's a beautiful thing. So thank you, Bill and Barbara. Be safe. We love you so much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
So Brandy, you and I will close out the show. And I love Christmas shows, But reality is, we'd be amiss if we didn't mention that there is a stimulus bill relief package that got passed in the wee hours last night, and you know, we're going to talk about it. I was really offended by one news person on CNBC, and it was the online edition, because it's $600 per person under 8. It's $600 per adult in a household, and if you're under 18, it's $600 per child as well. So a family of, I think they said a family of 5 gets $3,000, but it's $600 per person. Now, it also has income caps on it too. So you might, which is funny to me, because they go by your taxes of last year. If you made a certain amount of money on your taxes last year, you do not qualify. But what if you don't have the job right now?
Right.
See, there's a loophole. And so $600, if you're a single person, what's that doing for anybody after a year of no income? It literally is a slap in the face. And that is what Tulsi Gabbard from Hawaii, she actually voted against the stimulus bill. And there's a YouTube video up that we'll share next week about why she believes it's a slap in the face for the American people. But this CNBC online, I'll say face, because she's not a reporter, just got indignant and said, it's better than nothing. People ought to be grateful. And I'm like, it really isn't better than anything, is it? Like, it's really not better than anything. So we're going to delve apart.
It's the equivalent of, I stabbed you instead of shooting you. You should be grateful.
Well, this is why. This is why, because the bill is $900 billion. In the bill, now we should be grateful for $600 per person if you qualify. That's if you qualify.
Right.
But military industrial complexes and other countries were funded through this bill.
Yeah.
So then they also gave an enormous amount to just keep the government open. So we're going to look at those figures next week, because listen, I'm not against the government, but I'm against anyone who says we should be satisfied with a $600 stimulus for Americans that lost their job at no fault of their own, that that are losing everything. $600 is not going to keep your rent from being kicked out. It's not going to keep you from getting kicked out. It's not going to keep your rent. It's not going to do anything for you. Now, I do know that there's a large sum set aside for rent, and what hoops you have to go through to get that rent. And I know people now who are still waiting for the last rent relief and got eviction notices in between. And so, what's the process? We want to talk about that. What is going to be the process of this? Some people will be very happy to actually just buy the early next week. They said there will be a $600 deposit in your checking account automatically. If you don't have direct deposit for your IRS checks, your refunds, then it will go by check or a bank card, a debit card. But I do hope $600 is a little bit of relief for some people. But honestly, it's a matter of, okay, do I buy food or pay my electric bill down before they cut me off? Do I pay for my rent or wait until I can get some stimulus rent money approved and hope I don't get evicted in between? So it's not the end all. The Democrats have said that they're going to come back to the table once President-elect Biden is in office and do a larger stimulus bill to help American people. I do hope that they do that, Brandy.
I hope so.
Because by all means, A large, there was only like 50 that didn't vote for this. Okay. And the reason was, for the majority of them, was that they were given like hours to read 5,593 pages. Hours.
5,000. How many?
5,593 pages.
That's a lot.
And they were given like hours. They said they got it in the afternoon and had to have the vote in that evening.
That's crazy. I don't want to edit 100 pages in a month and a half. And 5,000 and 6,000 pages.
Yes.
That's crazy.
Yes.
And they had all them little clauses and stuff in there probably that they had to go look at. Man,
and
I know
that's why the 50 Republicans, a lot of them said I voted because, like Tulsi Gabbard said, and I know I'm butchering her name, but she's the representative from Hawaii, and she said that she can't represent the public because she doesn't know what's in the bill that's going to be good or bad for the public, because she couldn't read 5,593 pages. So it's not that she disagreed with it. She just didn't feel like, how can I say this represents the public's interest if I can't read what it says? And I think, that needs to be more of the standard than, what, it's the 9th hour, 11th hour. We want to go home for Christmas. Let's just push this through and get it done, because we don't know what's in it. I will say this, there is a streaming felony bill in there that if you are caught illegally streaming, then it is now a felony charge, which wasn't. Now, why is that in a stimulus bill? Can you tell me? Can you tell me why that's a relief bill has a new law that says illegal streaming is now a felony? That's in the bill.
That's crazy.
And that's per Varney and Company. Mark from Steelhouse Steelhouse.ceo said that. And so we're going to talk about this next week after the holidays. We're going to take apart the stimulus bill, and I want to get your input on what you think. Is it enough? Is it not enough? What is going on? And Eileen says people who have been paying taxes their entire lives have every reason to expect the government to step up in a real way when we need them. That's what I agree with. Thank you, Eileen, because I don't know why people are saying it's okay for the government to shut us down, close us down, make us lose our businesses, our homes, everything we worked for, and be homeless. And it's okay that they're not doing anything for us. It's not. It's just not. And there's my angst. You want to know why? Because I've been going out in the streets and being part of a ministry that God began called Unbound. And I met a woman the other day, and she's been on the streets since October because of this. Because there's no relief. She lost her phone, so therefore she lost her job because she couldn't be contacted because she lost her phone. So then she lost her job, then she lost her home. Now she's on the street, and she was wearing a garbage bag for a jacket.
Oh, man.
It's unexcusable that the government is forcing people into these situations and then saying, we're going to give you $600 and you should be thankful. And to that CNBC report, I wish I wrote her name down, but I was watching it at like 2 a.m. No, it isn't okay. It isn't enough. And nobody should just be thankful for saying, okay, you know why? Because she's not going to get that $600. You know why? Because her bank account is closed.
Yeah.
She has no address. So Cynthia is not getting any money because the government has forced her into a place where there is nothing for her to receive anything in. And there's hundreds of them. And I know I'm getting upset because I just thank you, Eileen. It is the government's responsibility. They put us in this position, and it's their responsibility to take care of those they put in this position. And I don't see any politician going homeless. I don't see any politician going hungry. I don't see any politician wearing anything but their three-piece suits and their fancy wardrobe and saying words that they think will appease the American people.
Yeah.
And I strayed from my Christmas jolly, but here Eileen is responding again. Eileen, you're gonna win. You and Sharika got some good merchandise. She says, I appreciate the integrity of the few who voted against the bill. So sad that there will be hidden things in those 5,000 plus pages. Praying for elected officials as they face so much pressure. Praying for both Trump and Biden. Praying for our country and all the struggling families. Praying for small business owners. Yes, and that's the only answer to the anger that riles is prayer. And we do need to pray for both Trump and Biden and the officials. And much respect goes out to representatives like Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii and many others who said, you know what, we can't. There was 50 of them that said, we can't do this. What's hidden? What's going on? We don't know what they're really doing. And so we will be continue to praying about next week's show. And you know, if you're listening, reach out to us, message, and let us know what you are experiencing, what you think of this bill, and we'll have it up on air next week and talk about real life people with real life problems and solutions. But yeah, so back to Christmas cheer. Guess what? Remember, reach out to someone. This is a hard season for a lot of people, right? People look at people who are strong, like Brandy, for instance. You're a strong woman, okay? People know you as a strong woman. People know me as a strong woman. But it's the strong that when the door closes, fall apart. And these days, the door doesn't open because there's no job to go to. There's no outside things to go to. So those, even the strong ones, are weakened by this isolation and silence and devastation. So don't forget the strong ones. All right. Put down politics and COVID-19 for a week. Just put it down until after the holiday, until after Christmas. Don't let it be the focus of your Christmas dinner or your Zoom gathering. Leave COVID and politics out. And look, I tried to do that for an hour and I couldn't do it.
I got a suggestion. And also to unsubscribe to being the perfect gift giver this year. The perfect anything this year did not happen. Just the fact that you're merely breathing and your presence is the present this year. So I know as a parent, although my child is 20 now, and when they're little, it's like we have this persona put over us. I won't even say I was that parent, but it's like you don't want to look like you're the parent who came up short. Yeah. And so you do all these things, and we did that pre-COVID. So I cannot imagine if you didn't lose your job, you unsubscribe to the fact that you have to be the perfect parent and get your children all the things of the world. Hopefully your children even saw what really mattered this year. This year was 2020, perfect vision. All things became clear. And the one thing that became clear to me was what really matters. This stuff that mattered. Lives started mattering. Your family mattered. Now you can't even hardly get next to a person without looking at them like, wait, are we 6 inches or are we 5.5? So even your family is potentially your enemy when it comes to this disease. And so hopefully your children were able to gauge and gather. Even my child said, Mom, you don't have to buy me anything. You might not get nothing. I'll leave that up to the Lord.
Yeah.
We'll look at the budget, but she's older now, so she understands. But as a parent, even my mother, I was like, don't get me anything. We're just going to get together and have fun. And because we have as we've been talking about this a whole year, my family's here. Like, I feel bad for other people who's like, I can't even get to my mom. This girl's taking an 11-hour journey versus getting on a plane because the plane is more dangerous now. So she's leaving and driving 11 hours from Georgia to Chicago just so she can be with her mom. My mom's 30 minutes away. And or if you lost a parent, there's so much grief in our nation right now. Lift those, release yourself from those expectations that you have to be a certain thing on a certain day. Just being here on a day period is a blessing at this point. And hopefully going forward, we realize that people is what matters. This stuff is going to fade away. It is, and we'll get new stuff. And I pray that the homeless, that about I'm not about had to pat my tears over here because being in a garbage, going from having luxury items, which clothes is a luxury, any clothing is a luxury, to not knowing where you're going to get your next shirt from has to be the most damaging thing you can go through. And so for our government to have given us crumbs in comparison to other countries, first of all, and then giving us crumbs in comparison to what we know our government is capable of, it's a slap in the face. But so for your household, don't subscribe to being the perfect parent. Just be subscribe to the fact that you're a loving parent and you did everything you could and you were present and you didn't give up and throw in the towel and tell them figure it out on your own because I'm going down the street. You're still there. And that's what some people can't even say that. They have mental breakdowns. The strong people, they said, you know what, I give up, I can't do it. They committed suicide or they abandoned their family. So if you're still there, you still have something to be thankful for and to be grateful for.
Well, I can't follow that. I don't want to. I think that's a perfect way to do that. And but it does remind me tomorrow at 2 o'clock we have a conversation with two amazing women, Pastor Grace Wilkinson and her niece Christine Showalter at 2 p.m. The conversation, Brandy, is about the devastation that their family has felt in the last month, and how God allowed them, how God gave them a heart to do something in their pain and their suffering, and how a ministry was blessed and brought forth out of that suffering, and how to get through the holidays. We're going to hear from a family who should have no way to have joy this holiday season, but yet they do. And it's because of Jesus. It's because of the love of the Father and the inner strength that God gave them to make a difference in people's lives instead of sitting with the sorrow. So we're going to have an amazing conversation with them tomorrow. Looking forward to that. And then, of course, for the rest of the week, well, Friday, we are still doing the, Thursday, Dive Deeper, the 7 attributes of Jesus that was given to the churches in Revelation. Jesus was presented 7 different ways, a different way to each church. Why? Can he be the one way to everybody? Well, no. He is often presented different ways based on the needs of that person or that community. And we're going to look at Ephesus, the first church that gets the revelation that was given to John. And we're going to look, oh, Brandy, I think you'll love this, because what we're going to do is we're going to look at the history. We're going to see how it was then versus how it was now in picture form. We're going to look at the gods and goddesses that they serve so we can understand what was happening in those times, that this word was applicable to them. And then we'll be able to realize over the course of the next few weeks, what church do we fit into? Because if we know what of the 7 churches we fit into, then we'll know how to change our lives, because God will commend us. Jesus commended the churches. He gave them rebuke. He gave them instruction, and he gave a blessing to those who overcame the hardships. And don't we know everyone is in hardship? So join me on Thursdays. No, on Thursdays for Dive Deeper Bible Study. And then Friday at 2 o'clock, your daily dose is a message. And this message this week is, Brandy, Jesus is the King, right? Lord of Lords, King of Kings.
Right.
But he's not a king from the world standard. So we're going to look at what is it to be a king in the kingdom of God, because we are all heir to the throne. And what does that look like? What does that mean? How can we make next year where we're living in kingdom and being after the image and likeness of our Lord and Savior? So that's Friday's message. But one more time, Christmas lights for everybody. We are thankful that you are here. We're thankful that you joined us. And Eileen and Shamika, message me and we will get you some of that merch. Eileen said, thank you, Brandy. Thank you for sharing. She said that there is so much freedom in releasing those expectations over ourselves. And I agree with that. Brandy, you're a wise, wise woman. May everybody be free this year to just love. That's all we need to do. So from our heart to yours, Merry Christmas from Truth Talk, Brandy, Bill, and myself.